Welcome back to the Laurence McKenna channel, where Liverpool have just won 2-1 at home. Their Premier League return to Anfield after the World Cup, and have actually put 4 Premier League wins back-to-back into, well, some form of a run. It's worth getting this away at the top of the video because I think it's really worth talking about. Liverpool did create chances tonight, but spurned almost all of them. They didn't create nearly enough chances in relation to Leicester, so Leicester clearly could have won the game, and both of Liverpool's goals were own goals. Own goals, by the way, which relied on crazy things happening during the game, on a really ridiculous looping chip and a defender just not clearing his lines. That's not good enough from Liverpool. And that frames the rest of what I'm going to say here, because I think overall, Liverpool were very poor. And, you know, that's undeniable. But at the same time, we see where things are going. But you cannot, and I mean cannot, rely on it being chaos that wins you these games consistently. There was just so much to talk about in this game. First of all, Liverpool set up without Fabinho in the midfield. Don't even get me started on the midfield structure for Liverpool today. Hendo had a typically sort of bad for Jordan Henderson kind of first half, and a lot of misplaced passes, a lot of times where he wasn't in the right position, all these kind of things. And it was clear that there was not, you know, the normal structure that you would see there. It felt almost similar to me and reminiscent of when Liverpool played Manchester United earlier on in the season, and the structure in the midfield just completely went at times. And there were times where you're just like, I don't understand what it is that you think that looks like in terms of a formation. People out of position. There were times where you're sort of wondering what Harvey Elliott is doing, although, you know, again, credit to the kid. I think he's a fantastic player, and I do think he does a lot of nice little cute things for Liverpool very often, as well as being very smart tactically and driving the team forward. But this game, again, some things slipped away, and Liverpool were lucky to have Thiago in the midfield. He was slick. He did some game management, not only in the first half, but in the second as well, when it was just literally like, we need some time to go down here. Sure, he's down, or we need someone who's going to be able to get their foot on the ball, pass it around, just get a little formation of passes going, and Thiago was the guy to put those together. Granted, I think the team looked towards him for that, but it kind of scares you a little bit as a Liverpool fan, because when you think Thiago won't be on the field, or you think that maybe that midfield might look a little bit creatively light, it worries you. And it makes you think, we do need something to slot in there. He was my man of the match, by the way. Even so, in that first half, with him at 6, or him at some sort of like weird rotational 6 with Jordan Henderson, through March Leicester, literally just straight through the middle. Loads of space, and I get it, Robertson pulled up with the offside, but even then, you're like, okay, that's unusual. Like, I get it. That to me, and I keep calling back to things here to do with Manchester United, almost feels like that time that there was no player in the Manchester United half and the team just broke on them, and you just sort of go, tactically, what is it that this group of players is thinking right now? Because you know broadly what they're supposed to be doing, and it seems like they do as well when they actually get into their stride. But against Leicester, and I think it was Adam Rowe who tweeted this, or someone similar, I think it was Adam Rowe, he basically said, there's a swagger to Liverpool at times, but the problem being when your confidence is like that, you just look arrogant when you then aren't doing the things that you're meant to be doing when you're 1-0 down. And so winning the crowd back over is going to be incredibly difficult at that point as well. Not only that, but you could tell the crowd were frustrated. Leicester were getting the better of Liverpool in that first half. This was probably one of the worst first halves I've seen under Jurgen Klopp. If not, one of the worst first halves of the recent Klopp era. So I get it, like there were some poor halves under Rodgers, who Liverpool were playing tonight, but this was really weird. Liverpool just didn't look at it. There were times where you could see there was just so much space and the confidence just wasn't there to be able to catch up. They looked like they were running through soup at times, and it was really strange. And then there was the other end of the pitch, where when Liverpool did actually attack, when there was actually something that felt cohesive, or even just like, hey, get over the top and there's a bit of space for Nunez or Salah, it felt great. It was great to watch. You can kind of see what those guys are going for now. And Jamie Carragher kind of, he termed it as Captain Chaos. He sort of monikered him in a way. I didn't feel that was really, I get it, like the chaos thing is nice, but when you really look into Nunez, there's way more to, you could see when he first arrived, there was a rawness element. You could see there wasn't much training that had happened, and you could see everyone just really wanted him to do well within the side. But after a while, it was quite clear what the intent was. Improve that left foot, improve his distribution, improve his awareness of the people around him, improve the connections that he has with the rest of the side, and the rest will follow. That has quite clearly happened now, right? I mean, I think it has. The issue now is his finishing. And I'm also kind of okay with that, because broadly, the point with Nunez was not to sign him to be a Haaland. Broadly, the point with Nunez was to sign him to create so many systematic changes for Liverpool, be that through chaos, be that through running into a channel, or be that through running these crossfield sort of diagonal runs that he does, which really carve a defence open and create loads of space for other people to run into. But sadly, at the moment, they don't have someone on the left to be able to support Nunez. Maybe that's a Cody Gakpo or someone like that. To the degree where you go, okay, great, well, if you give him X to hook up with, then that will work really well. Originally, he was kind of stepping on Luis Diaz's toes in like a weird way, where you sort of went, oh, will that work? Maybe those guys sort of need a bit of space management training together or something. But you could see where it was kind of going. Nunez would like drift and maybe Luis Diaz, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I know what I mean. Like, those guys are going to, you know? And so it kind of goes to this point where people just go, well, he is a striker, he is number 9, and he is the kind of guy that you just, I want to fail because he's young, he spent a lot of money on him, and, well, we want to fail. So these compilations come out. Sky put a compilation of his highlights and lowlights of the year since he signed for Liverpool, which, frankly, I didn't know it could be that long. But again, like, I understand it, I get it, it's big clicks, and it's fun to laugh at Liverpool at some point. But I also think it's kind of overlooking everything else that guy does right now, right? Like, there's a lot of weird things that Liverpool are trying to do, but at least if you watch Liverpool regularly, you're going, oh yeah, I see what they're trying to do there. What I find weird is when people watch Liverpool maybe a couple of times or out of context, they sort of go, yeah, I can't really see what Liverpool are trying to do here. And yet, the fact that you can see what Liverpool are trying to do, and even they don't seem capable of doing it at times, is incredibly frustrating. The kind of classy nature of whatever Liverpool want to be right now is almost irrelevant to everything that Liverpool are actually trying to do, right? Because the real issue is they're not executing. The real issue is, I think Liverpool are waiting to turn a couple of these players over within the squad. And a couple of people know this midfield structure is going to change, things are going to change around the club, and maybe I won't be that favoured player. But there are a couple of players who are putting in great performances per game. Trent Alexander-Arnold one-on-one was absolutely fantastic tonight. Even positionally, when Liverpool push him down the field, I still love him. Crosswise, I didn't think he was great, but I think Andy Robertson and he also had a weird night where they sort of kept trying to do these crossfield balls. Leicester clearly had very specific, and I mean very specific notes from Brendan Rodgers as to which balls they needed to cut out or not, and how that would afford them counter-attacking opportunities against Liverpool. Liverpool's backline looked wide open at times, though, and so these balls, and every time that Leicester cut them out, meant that Liverpool really were in trouble at times, and Leicester created more than enough good chances to draw this game. Whilst Liverpool also did create chances, Leicester also created more than enough chances. And if Liverpool want to continue doing well in this league, they want to get more wins back to back to back to back to back, it can't just be about grinding these wins out. And I get it, there is a repeatable system in the attack that they're trying to go through, right? But there needs to be a repeatable system at the back, and it can't just be Virgil van Dijk will save us. Because at the moment that does come, or Alisson. Alisson again, another great night, and one-on-one, you know, he was just unfortunate against Dewsbury Hall. Anyway, the point is, the system at the back, not good. The system at the front, good. I'm considering that, and I know this is weird, as some form of progress at Liverpool. The reason I say that, and sort of stick with me here, is because before the whole system looked broke. The midfield didn't really have structure, the front line didn't really have much attacking output, and the back line really looked vulnerable. Now, with the attacking structure up front, there is a bit more of offense is defense in a way at Liverpool. And I understand, like, that might sound like making up excuses, but the system is so key to everything that Klopp does. Klopp's going to Klopp, if that makes sense. So you back it, and I back it. But then you're still reminded, and I am still reminded on a regular basis that people like Oxlade-Chamberlain will be leaving at the end of the season. Naby Keita, most probably leaving at the end of the season. And so these guys getting regular appearances at this point is probably an indictment of Liverpool's recruitment to this point. And also probably more Liverpool's injury record than Liverpool's recruitment, because Luis Diaz will be playing. Obviously, Cody Gakpo is Gakpo. You know what I mean? Is coming into the team, and I think that will give Liverpool a bit more balance out towards the left. Him and at Robertson or Tsimikas, who came on and had a really good performance, will combine, in my mind, very nicely. And then you also wonder, there are a few smarter people than me looking at the way that he plays, how they think Liverpool will deploy, and they wonder if they're going to do him in that kind of Mane type role for Liverpool, when Mane sort of played through the middle with a player off him, and then there were little switches and almost plays that Mane did. And I remember talking about this last season when I had this channel, and even the season before. Liverpool have these kind of plays where Mane would cut deep, someone else would overcut him or undercut him, and it would create a whole load of space for Liverpool. And Mane was a very smart player in order to do that. There is more with Gakpo in the sense that, obviously he's still young. There is still a completely crazy goal tally a completely crazy goal to XG rating that he's got. And there's a whole other element to him, but it's not Mane in Mane form. But I'm still wondering if that's part of what Liverpool are going to try and trigger there. Luis Diaz seems a lot more direct. Nunez seems a lot more direct. Gakpo likes to get it and push into those players and run at them. Mane style, if you like. And he's got great feet like that. And I watched this compilation of Mane the other day, and it was just blistering, like scintillating stuff. Mainly because you think of Mane now and you just think goal machine, or you think, what he's done at Liverpool, the evolution that he's had, going from the right to the left to the centre, out to being a much more adaptable player even around that, was insane. And it makes you think, where is Klopp going to take the likes of Nunez, the likes of Gakpo, and the likes of Salah, Luis Diaz, all these guys, and how is he going to adapt them? Because I think what we have done is we come up with this blueprint and then gone, who fits into this blueprint and where? But we forget, before Liverpool had this blueprint, there was kind of a bit of experimentation, which is what Liverpool kind of seem to be doing right now. We experiment with Bajcetic. We experiment with Harvey Elliott. We experiment with how well you push on a Trent Alexander-Arnold. They experiment with where Salah plays alongside Nunez, a lot closer to him. And then also this weird, like Oxlade-Chamberlain out on the left. He explained his like sort of interesting role in the last game, where it was sort of midfield meets sort of left winger, kind of. More facilitated than anything else. You wonder if Gakpo can play that will be incredible. So you can see what Liverpool are going for here. And it's interesting when you pair that up with what Liverpool and the quotes that came from Klopp and Pep Lindge's last season, right? And I'll finish on this. Last season, they said there are some missing links, and that Gakpo was one of the missing links within this Liverpool side. Pep Lindge is quoted on record as having said that, right? So when I think about that, and I think, okay, well, then the transfer policy clearly has been to buy some of these missing links, bring them in, and rebuild around some of these guys. There has to be an answerability to that. There has to be okay, well, let's see it then kind of period, in which we don't go, it's just got to click straight away, although for Liverpool to get Champions League, it kind of does. But where we go, you know what? Like, if you say this is the missing link, cool. You've gotten Liverpool to this position before. I'll give you some time to rebuild and see what happens after that. That's what makes Cody Gakpo so exciting, right? Gakpo. I really want to know in the comments below, if you're Dutch, let me know how you say it. If it's not a Dutch name and I'm saying it wrong and it's a different language, let me know. But my dad said to me on Christmas, like 2 days after Christmas, I was like, Cody Gakpo, And he went, I think it's Gakpo. I think it was like Gakpo. And I was like, is that the Scouser coming out at you? We don't know. We'll find out. But here's the real reason for Liverpool to be positive at this point. They sit with one game more played than Manchester United, just behind Manchester United. They, having played, equal amount of games to everyone else, but played them very poorly and had a very poor game, time and time again, are trying to play their way back into this top four fight. And if you're a big player, if you're someone who's looking at this Liverpool side right now and going, could I go there? If this is a Champions League question or whatever, you're going, well, at least I understand what the blueprint is and how quickly a side can flip a switch. There is a lot going on at Liverpool right now. I think a lot is changing. So to play through that, to some extent, Klopp deserves some credit. The other side is they are still very much within a shout of getting into those Champions League spots, despite the terrible, and I mean terrible, start to the season that Liverpool have had. We can see where Liverpool are going with this. It is a really sloppy performance tonight. It is a really terrible one, one which I think Liverpool got away with and should be rightly vilified for. But you can kind of see where it's going. So there is an element of forgiveness amongst this Liverpool set at the moment. I really enjoyed Trent in this game. He got man of the match for others. I would give that to Thiago. I'll finish on this. I'm really interested in seeing Keita and how Keita continues to perform in this Liverpool side. There doesn't seem to be much, how can I put it, goodwill towards him at the moment within the Liverpool fan base, and there also doesn't seem to be much understanding. As in, like, what is it that he actually does? He came on, he played a very facilitative role. It was good to see him alongside that, like any of the right backs, be that Joe Gomez or Trent. It was good to see him kind of drifting, but he didn't seem that kind of scintillating, take it at them, Naby Keita that we were expecting at Liverpool. And the disappointing element is, I don't know if we're ever really going to see that. If Liverpool signs some more midfielders, it's clear he'll be one of the heads on the block. I would love him to be one of those great players, but it always seems to have stuttered and started at Liverpool. Let me know in the comments below. Am I being too harsh on him? Am I expecting too much for a player who's just been subbed onto the field? I'll be interested to know what your guys' thoughts are. And I will see you in the next video. Have a good night. Bye-bye. That was a weird sign off. Have a good night. Bye-bye. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.